Hello and welcome to the Night Watch, Conspiracy Theory Edition. I'm sharing this topic with you today as I contemplate chains of events that I've been really objectively evaluating and trying to piece together all of the things that have been going on in America over the last days and weeks and beyond. And really specifically, I'd like to talk to you about the murder of George Floyd by inmate Chauvin and the other complicit officers. And the question is it really possible that all of the involved officers / inmates and soon-to-be inmates, including Officer Inmate Chauvin, that they're so completely stupid and foolish that they would actually commit a calculated, methodical, heartless, cold-blooded, obvious, blatant murder, knowing that they were being videoed and doing it in such a way as to clearly show the world exactly what they were doing? Are they that stupid? Maybe they are. Of course it's a crime, of course it's murder one, but let's just say, for example, that this murder was actually premeditated and the intention was to do something on video as they did so as to instigate mass insurrection, civil unrest, protests, riots, widespread chaos, and essentially contribute to somewhat of a race war where you have protesters and people of all backgrounds and ethnicities standing up for what they believe in publicly, and others mixed in the crowd trying to push things over the line to bring about a greater level of violence and ultimately lead to a point where the federal government is making claims that the active duty military will soon be rolling into streets throughout America to enforce law and order. Is that part of an end game? Are the officers so stupid that they did this knowingly on video, thinking nothing would happen? Or would it be a very foreseeable consequence that doing such a thing on video, white officers killing a handcuffed, fully restrained black male in a heartless, cold, calculated, premeditated, and extended manner over the course of 9+ minutes, is it conceivable that they did such a heinous crime, a cold-blooded murder, on video without realizing there would be obvious consequences? And would a foreseeable consequence be mass rioting and chaos, which essentially would pit the masses against the federal government and local governments, police, National Guard, and military in somewhat of a violent way, with the active duty military rolling down the streets of America? All it takes is one incident, which certain people would be quite happy to make happen, that results in active duty military pulling the trigger and shooting an unarmed civilian, perhaps a peaceful protester, in fact. And that will change America forever if that happens. That could be an end game. And if it is, we really need to connect dots and try to figure out what is going on in America. So I'd like everybody to think about that objectively. I haven't heard this discussed. I could be completely wrong. It could just be that these officers really are that stupid to where they would commit murder on video knowing. I have no doubt that they would commit murder not on video, as this clearly seems to be a pattern, and an evil mind, essentially the mind of a serial killer and a racist that would do such things. I can understand that happening in places where no one would ever know, but to do it on video with phones all around them videoing it, is that by accident? Is it complete stupidity? Or was there an intention to cause exactly what is happening? There are also allegations of white extremist groups essentially trying to stir up the protests to a whole new level, to essentially lead things in the direction of violence. and put things over the edge to the point where there's even more of a government slash military slash federalized response, which ultimately may end up in active duty military taking the lives of American citizens who are unarmed. And if and when that happens, which at this point seems like this train is not stoppable, if that happens, that is a game changer. That is something that will change America forever, I believe. And it seems like we're on the course for that possibly to happen. It's almost a crash course. One other thing just to mention, as we're considering all of this, if that were the case, obviously these officers would believe that they would have somewhat of a get out of jail free card, such as being charged with murder 3, such as delayed arrest and prosecution, such as favors and various things occurring that would lead to the ultimate acquittal, or in any case, no long-term imprisonment and possibly even some type of a financial compensation payoff on the side. So it is something that I think we need to consider. It may be false, it may not be true at all. I just need to state it because it's quite suspicious when you really think about the whole thing. Meanwhile, Anonymous has been busy at work releasing various documents that seem to be deleted by Twitter as fast as they're posted on Twitter, which is quite interesting that Twitter is deleting those messages. However, apparently Instagram is not. There's quite a bit being put out there on various channels by the group known as Anonymous, also known as the Legion. And for those of you that take note of that, it might be interesting to look at some of what's coming out. Thank you very much for joining this episode of The Night Watch.